Okay, so I figure I've been kind of sharing my spiritual journey, but I have the majority of people wondering, how did I lose 111 pounds from my physical body and end up like this, literally with this as the result of a year and a half of spiritual release. So I wanted to give you an understanding of what this is to me, how I did it, how I integrated all that I am, and I did it through this. I did it through the mirror. I did it through our own intimacy with self, with myself. What I ended up doing is, the very first thing that God said to me was, listen, Sky, I do love you. I love you more than you know, and I am willing to show you how much I love you, but you also have to show up. Let me show you. And he challenged me to go to the mirror every single day, as often as I wanted. And literally, my first instruction was to practice standing in front of the mirror and saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I would show up in the mirror and I would just say, I love you to myself. I didn't even know how to make eye contact with myself at the very beginning of all of this, let alone dance, let alone enjoy, let alone explore what I am in physicality. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. So I started with a simple, I love you. Just saying hi to myself. Some days was enough for me. Other days, some days I wasn't strong enough to even say hi. I despised myself so strongly that looking in the mirror was such a trigger. I hated everything that I saw. Everything that I saw. So I started by saying hello. I started by saying, I love you. I started by meeting myself however I needed to be in the moment and saying, listen, in this moment, Sky, you're upset. In this moment, Sky, you're angry. In this moment, but you are beautiful. You are loved. You are cherished. You are wise. Look at you. And I started to worship the creation that God gave me in this presence, the mirror. I started to meet myself, and all of a sudden, as I started saying I love you, there came a point when all of a sudden one day she looked back at me and said, I love you too. And I'm not kidding. That is a very, very real testimony of who I am within myself. The mirror not only taught me how to meet myself in truth and observe myself in the state of awareness that I was in, whether or not I disliked myself, hated myself, loved myself, cherished myself, thought I was wild, looked at myself and thought I was homeless. It didn't matter what it looked like. I started meeting myself for how I felt. How do you feel today, Sky? You don't like what you look like, but tell me how you feel. Meet yourself honestly, because here is where I got to be the most real, the most vulnerable, and I got to share my heart with me, with all that I am. Understand that this reality and working within the mirror, it took time, it took courage, it took discipline. And the totality of spirit, because I chose myself every moment. There were some days when I didn't want to show up. There were some days that I didn't want to dance. I didn't want to enjoy. But God said, but I love you all the time. Can you not love you as well with me? Join in, Sky. Join in. Slowly, I started to observe myself. I started to observe all that I am, and I started to love the totality of my own holy presence. by simply saying I love you and investing a few minutes in myself a day. Soon we started to dance together. You know that when I first started dancing in the mirror, we'll get into all of the fun stuff, but I wanted to introduce you to the mirror, to my own magic portal. The mirror is all that I am. It is an existential version of my own inner matrix. The mirror is the totality of all creation, and I stand here as an observer and a witness in Christ, observing. And so when I come here to observe myself, you better believe that I come here to worship God in truth. Because God made me in truth. I chose this body, and so I come here to worship together in union and communion and in holy sacrifice, in surrender to all that I am, no matter my mood, no matter where I stand, no matter what. I chose to love myself. And I started in the mirror. Get it? It's a representation of our life, of our evolution, of our commitment in Christ, to observe ourselves through our holy awareness and to find joy and peace and patience in the process and enjoyment, true fulfillment through enjoyment and participation with creation. I'm going to participate the rest of my life with this little body because guess what? She's held me. This body, this chick in the mirror has held me and has lifted me and has encouraged me and has got my ass up every single time that I thought I was going to fail. God and I, this chick right here, hi, we run shit together. Because we love each other. We're in communion. That's my mirror. Don't make it weird. Make healing fun. Dance a little bit with yourself. Explore potentials. Because you want to know what? The entire world is a mirror. If you can't look at yourself in truth, then you sure as hell ain't looking at anyone else in truth. I just gotta be honest. And spirit ain't playing, so focus on you. Love you. The more you do, the more you can become. I love myself. I also happen to love you. My mirror.